I started going down a negative thinking pathway. And, I started as we all start with like a slow jog, and I could feel myself starting to pick up the pace on this negative thinking pathway. And I said, no, I need to just get out of this environment, and I need to capture these thoughts and change them. So I actually locked myself in my room, and I pulled out my wooden block with the string, and I just focused on moving this block. And before I knew it, those negative thoughts didn't have as much power over me. And so that was really, really cool. But this is the importance of taking captive every thought and turning it for good, turning it into positive thoughts, because it does affect our energy, and it affects other people's energy, which is probably why.
Thanks for tuning in to the Elevation Recovery Podcast, your hub for addiction recovery strategies, hosted by Chris Scott and Matt Finch.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. And I might look a little strange doing this, but I don't care, because this was such a powerful message for me to hear, and I'm hoping that it will be just as powerful for you also. So, and for those of you who are just listening and not watching, I will just walk you through it with my words as I'm doing this little exercise. So, I was in couples counseling the other day, couples therapy, which, by the way, if you don't already have a therapist, I highly encourage that you seek out a good therapist, because therapy, has maybe a negative connotation nowadays, but it is very, very important to mind management, which we know that good mind management is important to the health of our brain. It's one of the many factors that affect that health of our brain. And not only that, but our mind, our thoughts, all control how our life, the direction that our life goes. So hopefully this will be a powerful message to you, just as it was to me, and just as a good reminder to take captive every thought that we have, and turn those thoughts for good. So in couples therapy, my therapist gave my husband and I a block connected to a string similar to this one. Okay. And she told us, with our mind, to think what direction we want this block to go. Not say it out loud, just think it. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to move this block the way that I think it should go. So there you see it's moving right to left. Okay, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to move it around in a circle. I'm going to stop it again. Front to back. Get it to go pretty good here for you. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so that's cool, right? It's cool that where I thought the block to move, that produced an energy that moved it. And you might say, yeah, that's cool because you're holding the string. But she told me, she said, well, first she told my husband, she said, okay, you continue moving that block in the direction you want it to go, which I think it was right to left. And she said, Tana, you put your hand on top of his hand. I wasn't touching his string. I just put my hand on top of his hand. And then as he continued moving the block right to left, she said, Tana, now you move the block in the direction you want it to go, but don't say it out loud. So I wanted that block to move around in a circle. Before we knew it, the block stopped going right to left and started moving in a circle. So my thoughts, my energy from my thoughts affected his block. It affected his energy in his block. And that was powerful. That was powerful because as long as I have been doing this recovery, I have been learning about how powerful our thoughts are and how important it is to take captive our thoughts and have that quiet time and have that devotion and that meditation, and to be able to focus on my thoughts and focus on positive versus negative. And, we hear all this, focus on the positive, but to be able to see the energy right there in front of me was very powerful. So I encourage you to find a therapist if you don't already have one, and also go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or somewhere and just buy a little wooden block with some string, put it together and find a friend or a partner and do this with them and see, the power of it. Sorry. And I even just think about how amazing that is. And I already was doing this program of, living my life to meditate on the word, meditate on positive thinking. But to be able to see that was so powerful. And even the other day, I started going down a negative thinking pathway. And, I started as we all start with like a slow jog, and I could feel myself starting to pick up the pace on this negative thinking pathway. And I said, no, I need to just get out of this environment, and I need to capture these thoughts and change them. So I actually locked myself in my room and I pulled out my wooden block with the string, and I just focused on moving this block. And before I knew it, those negative thoughts didn't have as much power over me. And so that was really, really cool. But this is the importance of taking captive every thought and turning it for good, turning it into positive thoughts, because it does affect our energy and it affects other people's energy, which is probably why when those people who are super negative, you don't even want to be around them, because it's not just their words, but it's the way they make you feel, the way you feel when you get around them. It's that energy that they put off. And so we want to be giving off positive energy. I recently met this lady. I met her. It was so crazy because I kept running into her. I met her in the morning. And after I left, after I was talking to her, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel wonderful. I feel fantastic. Somebody called me afterwards and was like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm fantastic. And I was like, I just feel so good. And then I ran into her later that afternoon, and I felt good again after talking with her. And then the next morning I went running, and I ran into her when I was running. And I remember just after, talking with her, I left and I just felt so great. She was giving off such positive, loving energy, and I picked up on that, and I love that. And just realizing how important our thoughts are in determining where our life goes. If you're sick of being sick and tired, then start thinking about health and wellness and vitality. Start thinking about a better future. We all make mistakes. I made so many mistakes yesterday. I jotted this down actually, so bear with me. I'm going to read to you from this, but because I thought about the mistakes that I made yesterday when I was running this morning, and I thought, but if I allow myself to only think about yesterday's mistakes, then that's all I'm allowing myself to be today. So I don't want to think about yesterday's mistakes. I want to ask for forgiveness, and I want to learn from them, and I want to move on and make today a better day, because I have that power. I have that opportunity. So, maybe you drank yesterday. Forgive yourself and be thankful that you haven't drank today and that you can start new. Or maybe you did already drink today. No judgment. We've all been there. But be thankful. Be thankful, because as Dr. Seuss says, you have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any way, any direction you choose. I love that quote from him. So maybe you drank today. That's okay. You know what? You have brains in your head. You have the power of choice, the power of thought to think. Everything that we see today comes from a thought. Our belief, our faith comes from our thoughts. How else are we able to get this heavy machine, thousands of pounds, up into the air, the airplane? It started with a thought and the belief in that thought. And I'm still in awe every single time I get on an airplane and think about how it just lifted us up into the air. I'm still in awe. It started with a thought. Okay, so maybe you drank today, but you have the power to choose. You have the thought. And guess what? We live in a day where opportunity and information and knowledge is at our fingertips. You have the ability to get the information to overcome your addiction, to stop drinking in a healthy way, and to move forward. So take that next step. Choose, make the thought, today is going to be the day that I take the next step to learn how to overcome my addiction so that tomorrow can be a new day. And guess what? It starts in this moment. So we live moment to moment, and each moment can be a new moment. So take this opportunity right now to think about health and prosperity. Think about being free from your addiction. Think about the life that you desire to live. And start taking the next step. Stop thinking about your mistakes. Stop thinking about your failures, because you are not your mistakes and you are not your failures. God knows how important our thoughts are. He knows that is what produces our faith, and so much so that the Bible is full of wisdom on how we should think in our faith. And my favorite verse of all time, Philippians 4:8-9. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me, saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. Think of peace today. Think of a new life. Think of opportunities. And believe that you can live that life. Believe that you can overcome your addiction. Believe that your thoughts are producing what you are reaping in this life. And make the choice to think something different. Go out and get your string and your block and do it for yourself, and see the energy that your thoughts are producing, and know how important it is to start thinking new thoughts today. So I hope that that's as powerful for you as it has been for me. And I hope, I encourage you that you have a therapist, you're working on management. It is my hope that you are, no matter what happens, your mistakes or your so-called failures, which, by the way, failure is like the best teacher this world can offer. So no matter what it is, just know that you have brains in your head. You have thoughts that can take you in a new direction. So start today.